Hello and welcome back to the Berean workshop. And we are currently dealing with or exploring the whole idea of harmonizing faith and family. And it's been really remarkable that we've got a lot of sort of like reaction around this particular topic. And today, what we're going to go straight down and down to it and look at the anatomy of the family. Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll begin with just exploring how or reminding ourselves that the family unit is God's design, right? So obviously, if it's God's design, then obviously it's God's idea, and then God's got a purpose for it, and God has actually put all of the functions in place for a reason, and they all serve a purpose. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll just inject all of the purpose of the families and the characters in there in our discussion. Yeah. Anything to add to that?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go straight to it, because when we talk about just to remind some of our viewers again what we said the last time, that obviously family is God's design, is the smallest unit that God works through. Yeah. And now let's go to that next level, go a little bit deeper, and talk about so when we talk about units, so I was in the army, as you know, and I always say that every time that I have an opportunity. And when you think of a unit, right, in every unit you have like a unit leader. The unit leader has been given a set of instructions for that particular unit, and they must carry out those instructions. It's strategic, so it's really important. So let's talk a little bit about leadership, right? The role of leadership in the family unit, and of course, it's also important to mention the management side of things, because you could have leadership, really strong leadership, and poor management, which we've discussed, and we can go into. So let's break it down. Let's start.
The New Testament, in the book of Ephesians, Paul is talking and he says the head of the house is the man.
Yes.
So the head, as parts of your body, is where the eyes are. So he's the visionary. He's the guy who sees further than everybody else. But the rest of the torso is what contains the heart. And the heart is pretty much the engine of the whole body. So you see from that allegory, you see that the visionary, the leader, is the man. But in the family, the heart, the manager, the one who organizes, who makes things move, is the woman. So you always have that balance in any unit. You've got the husband, the visionary, the leader, and you've got the manager, who is the woman. And you actually see it even in the book of in Proverbs 31, where it has so much detail with regards to this virtuous woman.
It does.
She manages a lot.
It does. She is very organized. She manages all of the family affairs so well. She's thinking, even we're doing the harmonizing finance, harmonizing faith and finance, and although we haven't covered some of the details, but even in this Proverbs 31 woman, you can see how she invests. She knows what to invest in. She knows how to save. She knows how to. She's very resourceful. She doesn't need to go and spend extra money and buy stuff if she can sew it at home type thing. It's very resourceful, very creative. So absolutely.
I think there's even a portion where he talks about the husband or that woman is spoken highly of.
Yes, absolutely.
Because she promotes the husband.
Absolutely.
So you always want to have the wife on your side. You know what I mean? Because she's very influential.
So it's really interesting because, until you mentioned this earlier on about obviously the head, if you think about the head, that's where the eyes are, and where the vision and the actual big sight, and having that visionary goal mission type thing originates from, and then the rest of the body where the management comes is not just only the heart but the hands as well. It's the hands as well. And so when sometimes women say, oh, the Bible almost portrays women as subservient and lower, but when you think about it, no, they're the ones that actually do. And that's why because we talked about single parenthood one time. What percentage would you say single parents are women against men?
I'm not even sure. I reckon there's a lot.
It's a majority because they are more. They're stronger. Exactly. And that's the point. So, if you're listening out there and, if anybody sold you the lie that the Bible demeans women, no, it's the opposite. The woman is so functional. She carries the baby for 9 months. Do you think men can manage that?
Oh, no.
She's the one who wakes up and does that. Do you think men can manage that? No. So God looked at the man. Do you know what I mean? So God looked at the man and said, I'm going to give you the vision. You can do all the vision stuff. But the wife, you're going to come in as a helpmeet to carry the vision. You're going to be the one to really manage him where he isn't able to manage, the thing. Let him focus on the vision, of course. Then, and we'll come to this as well, you as a husband, you need to love your wife. Because when you love your wife, right, and you talked about the heart, then you are functioning in that realm, in that domain of love, where she really understands that, this guy has my best interest at heart. He's got the family's best interest at heart. I'll do anything to cooperate and partner with him.
That's why that association is very important. The man is told to love the husband. The wife who submits to the husband becomes a very powerful team.
Yeah.
You can see in the account of the fall of man.
Hmm.
Eve is deceived. She's actually deceived. But
Yeah.
the man goes in knowing full well that this has consequences. This is wrong. Because the woman is so powerful, she has influence. And that's the relationship. So, like I say, when that woman submits in that two-man relationship, that two-man team, it's a very, very powerful
Very
force.
powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful
because
force.
you know that she will promote your vision.
Yep.
She will promote, she will build, she will manage. And that's why she's the stronger. So submission does not make you less.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's
The support is the structure. It's the support behind the structure.
Yeah. I was looking at I think it's Proverbs 1:8, where it says, "Hear my son, your father's instructions."
Yeah.
The son listens to the instructions, but forsake not your mother's
teaching. Father's instruction, mother's teaching. Yes.
Vision and detail.
The details.
Yeah. So,
and also the teachings, and the lovely thing about the teachings is that what I've observed is that wives and mothers have the ability, I think even more so than husbands and fathers, in like really teaching. No, don't do it that way. Okay, yes, you did well here. Now I want you to do this slightly differently. The man will just be backing that instruction. That is not what I told you to do. The mother has a more of a coaching role in that family, in an ideal sense.
That influence is shocking. I don't know about you, but given the option, if kids were asked, who do you love the most? Mommy and daddy. It's going to be a tough one, but it's always towards mommy.
It's always mommy. Mommy. Mommy is always detailed. Mommy has all those intricacies, you love her where she's absolutely doing amazing stuff. And, sometimes you're like, oh, mom, why are you doing this in another area? But with dad, you don't get the depth, and it's, you're absolutely right.
Overarching plan.
Yes, the high level. You don't get the details, the depth, the ups and downs, the ebbs and the flows, the almost like the negotiation, With that, you don't really negotiate much. Fantastic. So we've talked about how, we've reminded ourselves how the family is God's design, is his idea, he has a purpose for it. We've talked about the family being the smallest unit that God uses. We've also mentioned how, there's a leadership structure, the management structure. And I think also when you talk about partnership as well, maybe you can tell us a little bit, maybe from a Bible story, how, the husband can also share the vision with the wife. And because this happens often, where the wife may have questions about the vision. How does the husband then now begin to sell that vision to the wife? How does that work?
I think she will see the vision in you, because a godly man has got a certain thing about himself. It's the way he carries, the way he prays, the way there's certain things that allow the bonding of man and wife, which is clear. So your vision is clear to her, because she spends more time with you than anybody else on the face of it. So when it's worth supporting, she will support you. It speaks to herself. Obviously, there's times when me and my missus will sit down and say, okay, we need to do A, B, C, D, and she will be in agreement. But she has to see some leadership in the house. So it's important for us to detail. Actually, saying this is what we need to do. But most of the time, she'll back you up because she knows you. And she knows when you're a godly man, you're a guy who prays. You do your due diligence as a husband, then she's there for you.
So, and we've talked about this often, about how part of the vision should clearly state some important aspects. Security, for example. Where are we going long term? How do we make sure our children have all the things that they need? And so that must be part of the vision. It's really important. And I think obviously if all that's in there, and even if it's not apparent in terms of it's not fully in place, but the fact that we're working towards it, because that's what vision is always about. We're working towards this. We may not be there.
We're all work in progress.
Always work in progress. I think what I'm trying to drive at as well is like what you said is the woman will see the vision, she'll see the elements of the vision, but how we communicate the vision as well as husbands, actually as husbands and wife, how we communicate is so important. It's really, really important. So that we speak. And the thing is, maybe you can chime in here, but I think it's also very important that husband and wives take time to understand communication styles and languages.
There's something I've read before. We probably have. It's called love languages.
Yes.
So it's different for each
person.
Different for each. So I think that as well is about knowing your partner, and it's important to be deliberate in a relationship.
Yeah.
We're talking about Songs of Solomon, not we just a few minutes ago. So
And we're going to come to that in a minute as well. So,
yeah.
So I think when we're talking about leadership and management, so the two must really speak the same language. They must communicate very strongly. There must be an element there where the husband and the wife both understand the needs of each other as they move towards that vision. So what are the details? Again, like I said, it's about security, safety, love, all this kind of stuff that are basic human needs, and building esteem, building love, those kind of things must all be infused in the vision, because that's what God is all about, really, isn't it?
I think the most dangerous thing is winging it in a relationship, expectations. We have to be deliberate in casting the vision. So you just don't wing it. Just because we're married doesn't mean we lack a vision or we don't have a vision, but we have to be able to discuss these issues. This is what we want. This is our expectation. Sometimes it might not go the way you want it, but at least you got something in plan as a unit, as a team. Before man was a husband, before man was a father, he was a husband.
He was a husband, yes.
Your first obligation is always for that.
Yeah.
Two-man unit. The Bible says the kids are a gift from God. So that they're next to it, it's an appendage, And those themselves will even start their own family units. So there has to be harmony or a direct knowledge of vision between the two of you, So kids go away.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment we experience our kid, our son, going back and forth between home and with mostly the two of us. So we kind of notice that, okay, we have to redefine what our priorities are.
Absolutely. What does this new stage of our relationship look like? And when we spoke earlier, we talked about the importance of, maybe you can even go back to that story of how in many cultures, many traditions, and a lot of them actually inherited the biblical values and principles. But most cultures, women are from a very early age really being coached and trained to be a strong wife, mother. Absolutely.
It's like you said, this is part of my culture, which is very probably ingrained in the African culture. A girl at a very young, tender age will be trained in how to, like you said, how to be a good wife, how to be a good husband. And when they're going into a relationship, they're not going in blind because they've been trained. Statistics I read, it was 41% of the people were divorced when asked why they got divorced. It's because it's not what they were expecting. So there's that lack of training.
41%. That's a high percentage. So unmet expectations.
Because they haven't been trained enough. And that structure of training these women exists in that culture. But what is lacking is the teaching for men. We don't get enough information, or we're not trained enough, or is it, I don't know whether it's the man thing in us, or is it the pride? But we see it in biblical times where the men used to meet at the gates. And the gates were, it's called the city gates. It was a place of power, place of men, where they would discuss enterprising things, business. Job talks about wisdom was being discussed. So it was a platform where men could speak, give each other tips on marriage or whatever is necessary. But there has to be that place where men speak with other men, or men teaching men, because obviously that's lacking in our culture. We go into these marriages blind, and obviously we end up having issues which we need to deal with, but we could deal with them before they actually escalate.
Yeah, because I think it goes back to what we said earlier on as well about how the communication styles and language as used in setting expectation of what the duty of a man is, or and a husband. And I don't think, like you said, we don't have very strong forums, and I think our nature as men, we don't really talk about this sort of things, right? We talk about careers, we talk about things that maybe might sound quote unquote exciting, rather than talk, like you said, about what does a strong family unit look like? What are my responsibilities of actually bringing a strong family unit? What does it mean to be at one with my wife? What does that mean to most men? It's very difficult to say.
Because our understanding is we're thinking one in the body. Obviously, our minds will always be separate, but you can always work to having, it's two eyes focused on the same thing.
Absolutely.
But you're working on that. You want to be, you want harmony.
Because the Bible says, "Can two walk unless they agree?" So it's like anything in life. You've got your phone contract here. It's an agreement between you and your supplier. Your provider. I beg your pardon, right? Your provider is saying, right. So this is what although it's small print and there's a lot of words, but the bottom line is like, this is what we're going to agree to. Do you want to sign on the dotted line? It's all there. Most of us don't read it, but we've got a general gist for it. So